join the League, your old self must die so that your new one may be reborn.
What are you not telling me?
In the future, I die.
Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Arrow Season 8, as well as I guess just Crisis on Infinite Earths in general, because there's some stuff that relates to it, possibly outside of Arrow. But yeah, I guess the road to Crisis on Infinite Earths is in full effect. Obviously, you could easily say that Crisis has already started due to the destruction of Earth 2 at the end of episode 1 of Arrow this season, and I guess just the, like the Flash knowing what's going on, and they're starting to prepare for it. I guess like Supergirl's the only show that's yet to really start doing anything towards Crisis. But of course, we saw the fallout from what happened at the end of Arrow episode 1 in, of course, as it would make sense, episode 2, where we saw that there is literally no trace of Earth 2, as if like it never existed. We of course got the full reaction to this through the character of Laurel Lance from Earth 2, and I'm sure we will see more similar reactions to that and scenarios like that by the time that Crisis does, come around or roll around, or even potentially in future episodes of The Flash, Arrow, and maybe even Supergirl before Crisis actually starts at the beginning of December. But as you would have just seen right at the beginning of the video before I started talking like an idiot, that was the trailer for episode 3 for this season of Arrow, which is otherwise called Leap of Faith, which will see us travel back to Nanda Parbat and the world of the League of Assassins. So in this video, we will go over that, as well as some other interesting things to come out over the past few days in regards to Crisis and some characters. This, of course, according to the actors themselves, and that they will be showing up in Crisis. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know all of your various opinions in the comment section down below. What, thing we talk about gets you most excited? What are you excited most about episode 3 of Arrow that's coming up? And just leave all your general thoughts down there. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, it would be awesome if you drop a like and it shows support and just your, hype and support for Arrow this season. But of course, last episode we saw Oliver and the gang in Hong Kong, which of course showed us the, Laurel Lance dealing with the fallout from episode 1. But it showed us Dr. Robert Wong being involved, and it finds it like it's the Monitor searching after him. And then we see right at the end of the episode that Lila's working with the Monitor, which was hinted at earlier in the episode. For those who didn't catch him, when Lila was talking about surviving that IED explosion, and everyone else in her team died when they were in Afghanistan, but she was the only one that survived. That's pretty much Harbinger's origin. That she made a deal with the Monitor, he saved her, and now she's basically his partner in crime. Well, not partner in crime, but works for the Monitor. In the comics, from memory, she is drowning, and the Monitor saves her, and that's the whole link in there. But it makes sense that they would change it to sort of suit what we know of Lila on the show, that she was in the army and everything like that, or the military, so I think that's the best way to go about it. Now, there are some people that are still asking about, what is the Monitor doing? Why is he getting all these different things? Obviously, there's a lot of people theorizing that he's the actual anti-Monitor in disguise. I think the Lila thing sort of shoots that theory out of the park and just goes, no, that's not going to happen. I think what they're doing is, and I talked about this to a couple of people, they might be building the tuning forks to put on different Earths to pretty much allow them to merge, or at least give them a chance at survival in case the anti-Monitor succeeds or something along those lines. But I have to wait and see. I'd say tuning forks, that's the only thing I can think of. If you want me to do a video specifically on that and what they mean and where it could lead in the actual crossover, let me know in the comments, because I'd probably have to go into more detail on how it could actually work on the show. But if I had to make a prediction, that's probably what they're building, or it's just a weapon to go against the antimatter cannon of the anti-Monitor. But before we get into anything, I will actually quickly go over the synopsis for episode 3, which gives us a bit more of an idea as to what's going on. Reunited with his sister, Oliver and Thea find themselves searching through a familiar maze of catacombs. Meanwhile, John and Lila partner on a special ops mission. So just quickly, because the John and Lila stuff isn't actually in the trailer at all, it will be interesting to see if that's another mission for the Monitor, or it's something outside of everything. I'd have to say it's something for the Monitor or Crisis related. I think the fact that Lila is now all in, and we've seen her there, you'd have to think that she's basically just on mission Crisis. You'd have to think so, and obviously John's been doing it for a couple of episodes now. But yeah, and also, some people have told this, pointed this out to me, and I've also noticed it, but I just thought, okay, maybe they just changed that for this season. But they've started calling Diggle John in the descriptions. Usually they just used to call him Diggle. Now he's being referred to as John. Everyone thinking, okay, is this because they're leading up to the whole Green Lantern thing, where he's like John Stewart? Maybe, or maybe they just decided to change up for the last season. I don't know, but I did notice that they changed it from Diggle to John in the description, so yeah. Now, firstly, some of you guys might notice this, but Cassidy is directing this episode, so don't expect too much Laurel in this episode, if any. She might not be in this episode at all. Maybe they gave her time off to deal with the Earth 2 stuff, so she might not be in the episode at all, but she's directing it. And I think David Ramsey, who plays John or Diggle, will direct one of the next 2 or so episodes after this. I can't remember which one it is exactly, but it's one of the next ones after this one. But in the trailer, the first thing I want to point out is when Oliver says, to join the League, your old self must die, so your new one may be reborn. Now, this is, of course, something we've seen a decent amount of times over the years with Arrow and certain characters. Like, when you join the League, your previous life and your previous loved ones pretty much are forgotten, or you leave that life behind. Obviously, the biggest example that we saw this with was, of course, that of Sarah back in season 2 of Arrow, and I guess... Well, yeah, season 2 of Arrow. I was going to say it sort of tracked into season 3, but then she died in episode 1. So, season 2 of Arrow, we saw this in full display with Sarah, and they gave us a good example of it. It's going to be interesting to see like the context of it all in this episode, or yeah, I'm interested to see what maybe they're referring to someone they have to meet up with. I'm not too sure, but it'd be interesting to see where they go. Like, the whole fact that we're in Nanda Parbat again is interesting, because really, if you think about it, we sort of left this behind a couple of seasons ago, but we're returning to a lot of classic locations in the season, so, you know, I'm not too mad about it. Let's bring it on. But yeah, Oliver and Thea are on that mission to Nanda Parbat. Now, it will be interesting to see how Oliver meets up again with Thea. Is it going to be a situation where Oliver is just placed and wakes up in a location where Thea's located, or Thea is sort of led to Oliver by the monitor? Various things like that. You can see that Thea's got like scars on her face, like they're really displaying that she's been on that mission with the Lazarus pits, which of course Roy died in and then was brought back to life. So I'm assuming that will be referenced again, and Roy will be brought up a couple of times. But just that, like, the whole reuniting of the siblings will be interesting at whenever it happens in this episode. I'd expect the first 5 to 10 minutes so we can just jump straight into the action of the League of Assassins and Nanda Parbat stuff. But that'll be interesting. And obviously, I don't think it takes a genius to realize that this scene around the campfire with Oliver and Thea, and where Oliver's probably going to tell Thea that he's meant to die, isn't going to be the most comedic scene. Probably going to be emotional. It's going to be interesting to see how Thea reacts. But knowing Thea and her knowing Oliver, she'll probably take it fairly well, because she knows that Oliver's doing it for the right reasons, and he wouldn't have, you know, left his family unless he knew it was, you know, needed. So it should be a good scene, this one. Now, obviously, most of you guys would know this because I've mentioned in previous videos, and some of you guys might have just seen the promo images for this episode, but Athena, the leader of the Thanatos Guild, is back for this episode, as well as Talia al Ghul. It doesn't seem they're going head-to-head at first, but it seems that maybe towards the end of the episode, or as the episode heads into like that action-packed stage, that they might go head-to-head. But if I did have to make an honest prediction, I think Athena and Talia al Ghul will both help Oliver. It'll be like a group mission, and one of them is going to betray Oliver. So it's either going to be Athena and probably the Thanatos Guild, or Talia al Ghul and maybe some of her followers as well are going to betray, you know, the group in what they're searching for. I think that's what's going to happen, because you got to have an action scene, you got to have a betrayal as well. And I wonder, who do you think is going to betray them, Athena or Talia al Ghul? My money's probably on Talia al Ghul, but I guess it depends what they're after. It probably depends what they're after, but I'd still put my money on Talia al Ghul. In regards to what they're after, like, what are they doing in Nanda Parbat? Obviously, they're after something. They're searching for something through, you know, the familiar maze of catacombs, as it says on in the synopsis. And catacombs obviously means, you know, some dead stuff. So maybe it's like some like a tomb, maybe like a Ra's al Ghul, whether it's, you know, the Ra's al Ghul that Oliver fought, you know, I guess the father of Talia al Ghul. Or if maybe it's maybe Malcolm Merlin. Obviously, maybe they've got his body, and that might be why the Thanatos Guild is involved there as well, because they were sort of saw Malcolm as their leader, if you want to call it. That'll be interesting if it's one of them two, and maybe if Thea's there, then it, once again, another connection to Malcolm Merlin throughout the episode. That would be pretty cool. It does look like they're at like a tomb of sorts. It just depends if there's a skeleton or there's just like an item in there that they have to get. It could be like a Lazarus pit as well. Some people were saying maybe they're looking for a Lazarus pit to get some water, or some of the like the solution or liquid from the Lazarus pit, and it might be useful to the monitor because it does, you know, heal and bring back to life. So that might be useful for whatever he's doing. It doesn't look like a Lazarus pit where they're going, but you never know. There could be like a vial of Lazarus pit water or something in the tomb or something. But yeah. But that's it really for the trailer. But in regards to Willa Holland, who plays Thea, now she was at a convention, she was talking about Arrow, and someone asked her about Arrow and Crisis, and she pretty much accidentally confirmed that she's in Crisis, or accidentally said she was in Crisis when she's not. So essentially what she said, someone asked her, what it was like to be back filming Arrow and filming Crisis, and she said it's been a lot of fun. Like, I'm paraphrasing here because the person who told me this paraphrase as well. I don't think there's a video of it, but through paraphrasing, they said, Thea said, or Willa said, Jesus Christ, I said 3 different names there. Willa said that, yeah, it's been great coming back, meeting all the people again, hanging out with them again, and she didn't turn down that she was in Crisis. Now, the thing was that some people saying, oh, well, they were filming Crisis at the time and she was at this convention, but Crisis has been filming for like 5 or 6 weeks or something like that. So she could have easily just been in Crisis for a little bit, whatever episode it might have been. But yeah, so at this moment, I'll just take her word for it, even if she accidentally said that she's going to be in Crisis. But I think if she isn't there, it's probably something small, maybe a Thea from another Earth or something like that. But I'd expect her to come back if... my theory around Crisis is like, there's a hero there, they're going to come and help. Why would they not help if the multiverse is in strife and is going to die? So maybe she's back to fight, but we haven't seen her on set, but she said she's there, according to that interview thing. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on what we went over. We're looking forward to the most in episode 3. What are your thoughts on some of the Crisis stuff as well? Yeah, let me know all of your thoughts down there in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.